Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhamad Rafly Ghifari and I'm currently studying at SMAN 1 Banjaran, second grade at Science 3. And for today's topic, let's talk about my favorite food. My favorite food, it's not really that special, but it really means a lot to me, and I eat it since I was a kid. It's a tempeh. I love tempeh so much. It especially that my mom's cook. I love it. I eat it since I was a kid, and at first it's cheap. That's the most important thing. It's cheap and you can get it anywhere at the market, at supermarket or a traditional market. I usually buy it at traditional market, the one with the tempeh with banana leaf wrap. That's I usually buy that one. And then second, it's full of nutrition. Okay, I'll read some of it. Tempeh is a traditional Indonesian food made from fermented soybeans. Yeah, it is fermented. I tried to make it at one time. Tried to make it at middle school. I think it's a school project, and I failed. It's really hard to make. Actually, not that easy. It is made by natural culturing and controlled fermentation process that binds soybeans into a cake form. Yeah, the shape is like this big, I think, and the color is white. Fungus, yeah. Rhizophus oligosporus or Rhizophus oryzae is used in the fermentation process and is also known as tempeh starter. Tempeh starter, the Indonesian word for it is actually ragi. It is especially popular on the island of Java, where it is a staple source of protein. Yeah, and the third reason I love tempeh is it can replace meat. You know, the price is very different, meat and tempeh. Like tofu, tempeh is made from soybeans, but it is a whole soybean product with different nutritional characteristics and textural qualities. Yeah. Tempeh fermentation process and its retention of the whole bean give it a higher content of protein, dietary fiber, and vitamins. It is actually a nice food for people like me who goes on a diet or something. It has a firm texture and an earthy flavor which becomes more pronounced as it ages. Yeah. I love tempeh, especially what my mom cook. Fried tempeh or tempeh orek or a tempura tempeh. You know, the tempeh with flour and you deep fried it. Now here's some steps to make a homemade tempeh. First, clean and soak the soybeans. You clean it with clean water and soak the soybean. I think, if I'm not wrong, it takes 8 hours to soak the soybeans, and then cracking the soybeans after 8 hours or over the night time to separate the soybeans from its skin. You peel them off one by one till it's clean from the skin. You throw away the skin and then you have the clean soybean. Stir gently, causing the hulls to rise to the surface, and then pour off the water and hulls into a strainer. You throw away the water, add fresh water, and repeat until the most hulls are removed. Don't worry, a few hulls remain attached. And then put the beans in a cooking pot with water over the soybeans. I cook for 30 minutes. Yeah. You put the soybeans in a pasta pot if you don't have it. Put it in water and cook for 30 minutes. When it's cooking and foam gather, remove it with clean ladle. When you boiled it, it will form some kind of bubble thing, and you clean it with a ladle. And then dry the soybeans. After 30 minutes, drain off the water and dry the soybeans by continue heating them in a pot on medium heat for a few minutes until the beans are completely dry. After you boil it 30 minutes in the stove, you cool it off. You throw away the water, drain it, and cool off the soybeans. Move the dry beans into some white place. You put it in the some kind of tray or something to cool off. Leave it for some time. During this process, avoid touching the beans with hands. Use clean tool instead. I learned this at school. You don't touch the soybeans because our hands, it contains bacteria that actually not good for the soybeans. You use a spoon or something. Inoculating the soybeans with tempeh starter. Now you use this tempeh starter known as ragi. When the soybean is already dry and cold, but not too cold, sprinkle it with 1/2 teaspoon of tempeh starter. You put it in a bowl. Put the soybeans that already dried off and cooled off, and then you take a 1/4 teaspoon of tempeh starter known as ragi. Mix with a clean spoon for about a minute to distribute the tempeh starter evenly. You mix it. It's a very important step to mix the tempeh starter very well. It reduces the risk for spoilage and the fermentation will be faster. Now that is the tricky part, the fermentation part. I actually failed on that step. It didn't form it didn't get hardened. It's just the soybeans and the ragi didn't mix really well. And then incubating the beans. Take 3 plastic bags. When I was in middle school, I used the sealed plastic. That you can pull it, so the air cannot go in there. Fight the soybeans in the 2 bags and seal them. You seal them and press them flat, making sure that the total thickness of the beans is max 3 centimeters. And then you store the beans. Place the packed beans in an incubator or at a warm place for about maybe 2 to 3 days, which the tempeh fermentation takes place. I put them on the top of oven tray, then store them on the top of my kitchen cupboard. You put it on top of a kitchen cupboard. You cover it with a cloth or something. So the temperature in the house is about 28 degrees back in the day. So I have to wrap the beans using a clean napkin to make them warmer. Best temperature for tempeh is around 30 degrees. Now, after 36 hours, the container should be filled completely with white mycelium. If you're not failed, the tempeh should look like a cake, a white cake actually. It gets hardened, and then when you cut it, it's firm. It's not soggy textured. And the entire contents can be lifted out as a whole piece. Now you can cook your tempeh for some delicious dishes. Now, after that step, you could fry it, or you could make it as a tempeh orek. Or the simple ways is to fry it with salt and garlic, my favorite.